Well, it'd be great if anybody that wanted a free phone and a free monthly plan could get one. So is that going to be an offer for everybody or just people that walk into the country illegally?
Well, Peter.
Damn. Welcome to the Bald Brad Show. Our story here is a video clip between Peter Doocy of Fox News and the press secretary Jen Psaki duking it out for round 3 regarding COVID-19, the mask mandates, as well as the immigration crisis happening at the U.S.-Mexico border. Without further ado, let's go ahead and roll the tape.
Go ahead.
Thanks, Jen. Is there a carve-out in CDC regulations for COVID for vice president?
Tell me more, Peter. I'm sure this is going somewhere. Let's see.
You know,
what do you got for me on a Friday?
The CDC says for people exposed to COVID, up to date on their COVID-19 vaccinations, do not go to places where you are unable to wear a well-fitting mask. So why is she here at the White House today giving the new Supreme Court justice a big hug with no mask?
You mean when she gave her a hug outside?
Yes.
She was outside?
Does the CDC say that people who are close contact can give people hugs outside?
Boom. There's strike one from Peter Doocy, just right on the jaw of Jen Psaki. And folks, this is one punches of many coming from Peter Doocy. I'm calling this one a KO by the time, but let me know down in the comments if you think by the time we are done, Peter Doocy completely took a deuce all over Jen Psaki. But he's absolutely right here. And look, Peter Doocy doesn't care that they hugged outside. Fox News doesn't care. Republicans don't care. Conservatives don't care. The whole purpose of bringing this up, honestly, is just to call out the double standard of the White House, where the rules don't apply to them, but it applies to all of us other peasants out there in society, where they had to shut us down for 2 years, make sure that we comply. If we don't, your businesses are shut down. If you don't, some people are thrown in jail. If you don't, you're fined. But again, you know, they're always going by the CDC guidelines and all this other stuff. So Peter Doocy's calling them out, and she's getting caught here. And watch how she fumbles through her words, just like her boss.
You know, Peter, that outside you can benefit significantly being outside. That's why we had the event outside today. I will tell you that the vice president has been wearing a mask inside. When there was a private greet, they were all wearing masks before they went up.
Wearing a mask yesterday at the Senate.
Damn, there's strike number 2. Hey, well, Peter, they were wearing masks indoors and all this other stuff. And he's like, well, I wasn't wearing it at the Senate. Like, damn, man. He's just kicking her ass all over the place. And we're not even done yet. We're only a minute into this thing, folks. Wait till we get to the immigration crisis stuff. But let's see her fumble through her words. Once again, let's see her lie to the American public. And I just want to point out, folks, the original conversation here was about the hug outdoors between the VP and the Supreme Court nominee, Ketanji Brown Jackson. And she's going on about this whole indoor stuff. Well, you know, it's on video, and well, they had their mask up on insides and all this other stuff. It's like, that's not what the conversation was about, lady. We're talking about what happened outside, on how you're not applying the CDC guidelines when you're supposed to be. But again, just another story where you don't have to comply, but all of us do.
She was playing an important role in confirming or overseeing the confirmation of the first Black woman to the Supreme Court. The vast
Oh, so, you know, she's playing a huge role, folks, by, you know, putting through the first Black woman on the Supreme Court. You know, huge deal. So she doesn't have to follow the CD guidelines. You know, nobody has to follow the CDC guidelines that's up there because, again, they have important roles, you guys. See how this works? They're important. You're not important. Your business wasn't important. You know, none of the stuff you had to go through these last 2 years was important. But, you know, nominating the first Black woman on the Supreme Court, just a huge deal. Huge deal.
It is, as was on camera, Peter. As was on camera. Let me finish my answer here, because Fox and others, I don't know actually that Fox carried it, but others did, saw that she was socially distanced from people for the vast, vast majority of her time overseeing that confirmation yesterday.
So this is not a case of rules for thee, but not for VP.
In fact, the vice president wore a mask inside today when she was both with the president, with her staff, other people. She was outside at the event. She was socially distanced for 99.9% of the event today, and she had an emotional moment, which is understandable.
Okay.
I love that she calls out, oh, well, she was masked up for 99.9%. And you know, we're supposed to pretend like it never happened. But here's the problem. For businesses that complied for 99.9% of the time, and at one time somebody caught them, or a customer coming in, or an employee without a mask, they were shut down. or they were fined, or some of them were arrested for not complying, or whatever it may have been. Even though they complied 99.9% of the time, they were still screwed over. But it's okay. It's okay for the VP to get away with it because she's in a position of power. And like Peter Doocy did, as he always rhymes with his stuff, you know, it's power for thee, but not for the VP, you know, or however he phrased it. So it's just another bogus attempt here by the White House to downplay them doing something wrong. But again, when the right does something wrong, they'll be sure to call it out no matter how it is. Even if they were correct 99.9% of the time, they'll still zoom in on it.
Okay, and one other topic, following up on the smartphones that are being given to border crossers with technology so they can be tracked or so they can check in. Is there any plan to give free smartphones to U.S. citizens that want them?
Should we not be tracking migrants who irregularly cross the border?
Again, no answer to the question that he asked, and she's just following up with a question. Folks, this is more taxpayer dollars going out there for people that shouldn't have been here in the first place. I don't know if anybody realizes, but we're trillions of dollars, like $30 trillion in debt, and we're just handing money left and right to these illegal immigrants. Again, I just got done saying, hey, you know, we just got done spending $30-something million on hotel fees for illegal immigrants. Why are we not spending $40 million on hotel fees for our homeless here? Or how about our veterans, folks? Why don't we spend $40 million plus on our veterans? Why don't we give them free phones? Why don't we give them free food? Why don't we really do an outpouring of trying to reach them on the streets with this kind of money? But no, the Democrat Party wants to focus on those that aren't even American citizens here, that haven't served for our country, but they're willing to screw over our veterans left and right while they take care of others that are, again, not supposed to be here. But wait till Peter Doocy follows up here, because, man, he clocks her right in the jaw. This was the KO moment coming up here in a little bit.
I'm asking if...
Or do you have an alternative suggestion for how they should be tracked?
I, unfortunately, have not been asked to make U.S. immigration policy. That's not
Today's your moment.
Well, it'd be great if anybody that wanted a free phone and a free monthly plan could get one. So is that going to be an offer for everybody or just people that walk into the country illegally?
Well, Peter.
Damn. Damn thug life from Peter Doocy. I mean, folks... Can you not get more of an uppercut to the jaw? I mean, she's done here. That was it. That was the KO. Peter Doocy takes all 3 rounds with Jen Psaki and destroys her on this one. And you love how, like, you see kind of like that energy between them two. And I'm not saying it's positive, but there's definitely like a tension between them two on how they're trying to be all nice to one another. And she's trying to be all like sarcastic and a smart ass with him. Like, oh, well, you know, what kind of legislation would you propose, Peter? It's like, well, he's not the one making the legislation. He's the one asking the question and waiting for you to finally give him an answer. Just like your boss neglects trying to give anybody answers where they're already pre-prepared if he is to give one. But damn, man, Peter Doocy just coming out, just swinging hard for the fences. And I love it. I love it. Well, let's see what Jen Psaki has to say here through her fumbling and lying of sentences.
As when we talked about this the other day, what I noted to you is that we have a range of means of tracking individuals who irregularly migrate to the country in order to ensure that they are meeting their notice to appear obligations and that they are appearing in court when they should appear in court. Phones is one of them. They're all.
Oh, you know, because when you give somebody a free phone, that's going to make sure that they appear in court and that you can track them. Because there's no way these people could just, I don't know, fucking throw it in the ocean or throw it in a dumpster or break it, light it on fire so you can't track them. But, you know, hey, let's just give everybody free smartphones and a cell phone plan for free usage off a taxpayer dime. And, Peter, they're going to come. They show up. Peter, I mean, 80% of them have been given their papers. So they're going to show up, right, Peter? What an idiot.
Also ankle devices and a range of tracking devices. 80% of individuals of non-citizens released at the border from DHS custody under prosecutorial discretion have either received a notice to appear or are still within the window to report. So yes, there's telephonic reporting. There is SmartLink, which
I just want to point out, I know I keep pausing it, but I don't want to get copyrighted from Fox News. But who cares? That's awesome. You give them a piece of paper that said you need to show up to your court hearing. The question is, are they showing up? The question is, what happens to those cell phones? Do they have to turn it back in? Do we actually get to recycle that? Meaning, hey, if they're going to take it, they give it back and we can reuse it. Maybe that's a use of taxpayer dollars that I'm maybe not fully against because, hey, it's actually being utilized correctly. We're getting multiple uses out of it. But they'd be like, oh, well, 80% Peter just are given their papers. But, I want to see the stat on them actually showing up. That's what I want to see. I want to see the actual stat of the 2 million people that came across the border. How many are actually showing up for their court date? How many are actually utilizing these cell phones? How many are actually utilizing the ankle bracelets? How many are throwing them away? How much money is being thrown into this whole program that you're trying to put forward? These are the things that I want to hear, but no, she's not going to give those because we all know the answer. We all know what's really going on, folks. We all know the lies that the Biden administration is doing. We all know what's going on at the U.S.-Mexico border.
Which enables participant monitoring via smartphone. There's the global positioning system. These are the range of means with modern technology that we monitor.
Last one on this. Does the president have any plans to figure out what these small towns who are bracing for a major influx in migrants next month need by making his first ever trip to the border?
I have nothing to predict for you in terms of additional trips. The president will be traveling the country, but I don't have any more specifics for you.
Well, Peter, this has been going on for 2 years now, and we know that they've been busing in these illegal immigrants into these cities and just letting them loose and kind of letting the locality just foot the bill. But we don't have anything for you right now, big guy. Sorry. We just look at this as a challenge and not a crisis. Can you believe it? That's a great question that Peter Doocy is asking, because this has been going on again for 2 years. We're having thousands of illegal immigrants crossing into the border and just being released into these localities. And I've always shared this story with you that they're busing in literally coach buses full of these illegal immigrants at the time of COVID-19, where the CDC was mandated that they be checked, that they need vaccines or whatever it may be. And the localities had to foot the bill. And so they were declaring a state of emergency with all these people. So rightfully so, he should be asking this question, especially when you're looking at 18,000 people coming across the border each and every day. But, folks, not a big deal. They're getting cell phones. They're getting ankle bracelets. They'll be sure to show up. They'll show up for the court date for sure. There's no issue going on here. We just don't have upwards of, 11 to 15 million illegal immigrants that are still here that shouldn't have been here. 4 years, by the way, 4 years. But, we're all good here. We'll just give them a quick phone call and they'll show up for their court hearing and everything will be A-okay. Everything's going to be fine. So there you have it. Peter Doocy once again knocking out Jen Psaki for the third and final round. Folks, if you haven't seen my other videos between Peter Doocy and Jen Psaki, I highly recommend you go check them out. They're some of my biggest videos, or at least the biggest videos that I have viewed on my channel here at the Bald Brad Show. But damn, you gotta love Peter Doocy of Fox News doing yeoman's work and finally speaking up for the American people. With that being said, folks, let me know who won down below in the comments. Do you think Peter Doocy won, or do you think Jen Psaki won? I think we know the answer here. Who really won? Jen Psaki was hit so hard she couldn't even freaking put out a full sentence for a while. So, with that being said, folks, I will see you a little bit later today. Wow, here on the Bald Brad Show.